Anastasia and Dylan were married last July. The ceremony was simple, just family and friends. They had been dating for a long time. They dreamed of a life together, children and a big house. After a honeymoon in Italy, they moved back to their apartment in New York. Dylan worked as a programmer and Anastasia as an interior designer. They seemed to be doing well and had a long and happy life together. After a few months, however, Dylan began to notice that Anastasia started acting strange. She changed dramatically, becoming irritable and moody. She used to be cheerful and sociable, but now she preferred solitude. Dylan decided to talk to her, but Anastasia refused, saying she had a lot of work to do. This seemed strange to Dylan. After a while, Anastasia started coming home later than usual, explaining that she suddenly had urgent projects. Dylan became concerned, but didn't want to pressure his wife. One night, he woke up to find that Anastasia was not home. She didn't answer his calls or texts. Dylan worried all night, wondering where Anastasia might have gone. In the morning, Anastasia returned home looking tired. Dylan demanded an explanation. After much coaxing, Anastasia told him that she had fallen in love with her coworker, Ethan. She sometimes spent the night with him. Dylan was shocked at her confession. He never thought Anastasia would be capable of cheating. They argued and Anastasia left the house, slamming the door behind her. For several days, Dylan was devastated by the news of his wife's infidelity. He didn't know what to do next. Divorce seemed like the easiest way out. But Dylan loved Anastasia and hoped she would come to her senses. He decided to give her time to think things over. A week later, Anastasia called Dylan and told him that she wanted to come back. She admitted that it had been a mistake to get involved with Ethan. Dylan agreed to meet her and talk. During the meeting, Anastasia sincerely apologized to Dylan and asked him to give her another chance. She swore that she would never betray him again. Dylan could see that Anastasia was truly sorry for what had happened. He still loved her, so he decided to forgive her and keep their family together. They agreed to have a fresh start, see a psychologist, and work on their relationship. After a while, life went on as before. A few months passed. Anastasia and Dylan's relationship gradually improved. They tried to be more tolerant of each other, to communicate more. One evening at dinner, Anastasia unexpectedly told Dylan that she was pregnant. The news came as a complete surprise to him. But Dylan was very happy. Anastasia assured him that the baby would definitely be his. Dylan believed her. They began waiting for the baby to be born. When the baby girl was born, Dylan was the happiest father in the world. He and Anastasia named their daughter Mary. Dylan was thrilled with the baby, bathing her and feeding her. Anastasia was also happy. When Mary turned 1, they had a big party with family and friends. Looking at his daughter, Dylan thought all the trials were in the past. But when Mary turned 3, Dylan began to notice that she didn't look much like him. She had dark hair and eyes, while Dylan's were light. Suspicion crept into his soul. He decided to secretly take a DNA test. The results showed that he was not Mary's biological father. Dylan was furious at yet another betrayal by Anastasia. This time, he decided to file for divorce. The conversation with Anastasia was difficult and emotional. She refused to confess for a long time, but finally admitted that Mary was from Eton. Her affair resumed after she reconciled with Dylan. Dylan was furious. He felt devastated by his wife's constant lying and cheating. Despite his love for his baby girl, he decided to sever all ties with Anastasia and Mary. After the divorce was finalized, Dylan moved to another apartment. Anastasia stayed behind to live with Mary. Dylan decided never to see his ex-wife again. Several years passed. Dylan gradually recovered from the divorce and began a new life. He stopped communicating with mutual friends so that he would have no ties to the past. One day on the street, he accidentally bumped into Anastasia with Mary. The girl ran up to hug him, but Dylan coldly pulled away and quickly walked away. Mary cried because he had walked away from her. Anastasia tried to catch up with Dylan, but he ignored her. Years later, Dylan married a nice girl named Lily. They met at work. Lily was a programmer at the same company. 1 year later, their son Peter was born. Dylan adored the boy and was happily married to Lily. She was a loving wife and mother. One Sunday night, Dylan was watching the Sunday show on Fox News. The phone rang. It was Anastasia. She wanted to fix the relationship for Mary's sake. But Dylan asked her to stop bothering him and hung up. The past was buried. Mary grew up to be a beautiful and intelligent girl. Anastasia told her the truth about Eton being her father. Mary never had a warm relationship with Eton. When Mary turned 18, she decided to track down Dylan and ask him to apologize for her mother. She found his address and went to his home. Dylan was reluctant to let Mary in for a long time. But Lily convinced him to talk to the girl. He finally agreed. Mary told Dylan honestly about her life, her studies at the institute, and her hobbies. She apologized for what her mother had done many years before. Gradually, the ice in Dylan's soul began to melt. He saw before him a wise, grown-up girl, not like the frivolous Anastasia. Dylan introduced Mary to his son and his wife. They immediately adopted the girl as their own. Dylan promised Mary he would not lose touch with her. Thus, the adult daughter he had always dreamed of came into his life. Dylan was happy to correct the mistakes of the past. He often saw Mary and her young husband Andrew. He even got over the idea of his daughter getting married, even though he didn't immediately like Andrew. At the wedding, Dylan chatted warmly with his daughter and son-in-law. Anastasia was also invited, but kept her distance, feeling uncomfortable. As he watched Mary and Andrew dance, Dylan felt peace in his soul. His dream of having a real family had finally come true. Years later, Dylan and Lily played in the backyard with their grandchildren. A Pink Floyd song was playing. Mary and Andrew came to visit with their twins, a boy and a girl. As Dylan watched the grandchildren having fun, he felt truly happy. His dream of a large, close-knit family had come true, despite the mistakes of the past. Now he had everything he could ever dream of: a loving wife, beautiful children, and grandchildren. And that was the best revenge for Anastasia's betrayal.